Hey, my handsome ladies and gentlemen, this is Shmeaty. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new. In today's video, I've got a good one for you. We're going to be taking a look at Shadow Rhyperior in the Open Ultra League. Now, generally, more of a Master League Pokemon is Rhyperior, but it has actually been picking up some steam in the Ultra League because who would have thunk it, hard-hitting Mud Slap damage and big charge move damage is actually a good thing. Unfortunately, this Pokemon is ridiculously frail, and that is going to be evidenced by today's battles. But I ran a poll and said if you guys wanted to see a good Ultra League team, or if you guys wanted to see this, and you guys wanted to see this, so your prayers have been answered in game number 1. What a lead we are going to see. Rhyperior leading into a Steelix. This is actually pretty fine for us, as they safe switch into a non-shadow shiny Kingdra. Kingdra is going to be tasked with now eating a breaking swipe or shielding it up. Unfortunately, we don't get the debuff there, but we're happy to grab that shield. Now switch out into Virizion, and Virizion is going to be doing pretty okay up against the Kingdra. The reason being is because they go for the Octazooka immediately. Octazooka does not get the debuff. Immediately punished is the opposing trainer. We land Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade does a solid amount of damage. This is only going to be another Octazooka. I am not going to shield it. Octazooka not going to be doing enough damage. It is going to land a debuff on us, but that just means more double kick farm down for us. The switch timer's up, and now I'm looking to pivot out into my Feraligatr, because Feraligatr we know can do well into that Steelix, even though it is on now the fast move of Thunder Fang. We are going to be able to outpace them dramatically to these Hydra Cannons before they're able to make their 35 energy charge move in Breaking Swipe or Psychic Fangs. Most likely going to be a Psychic Fangs, so that they can try to degen their way through us. They go for Breaking Swipe for the damage, and we're going to get ourselves as low as possible here so that we can go for the Hydra Cannon, looking for a little bit of an undercharge so that when Rhyperior comes back in, Rhyperior's looking for a farm down, smelling blood in the water. We know that there is a zero shield Drifblim on the opposing side of the battlefield here. We are going to fire off this Rock Wrecker and Rock Wrecker onto a Shadow Drifblim. Wouldn't you guys know? KO's the Drifblim. In comes the Steelix. The trainer top lefts before they can get farmed down. GG's. What a start was that game 1, and it's going to be a poison type on lead. It's going to be the Shadow Drapion, and like I said, the reason why people are running this Pokemon is things just like this. It's the Shadow Drapions, the Steelixes, all these Pokemon. Even in this Feraligatr matchup, you're going to see I'm staying in here, and I'm firing off this Rock Wrecker to command a shield or an immediate KO of the Feraligatr. Trainer not willing to let go of the Feraligatr quite yet. We're going to catch their Hydra Cannon on our Virizion. However, we have dramatically misaligned the switch timers here, so that is something we're going to have to pay attention to. That could potentially be an advantage for our opposing trainer here. We're going to see that they bring in their Drapion and immediately start firing off these Sacred Swords. The Drapion does not quite yet have enough energy for a move, so we're going to fire off one more double kick and another Sacred Sword. Sacred Sword now getting this Drapion really low. Drapion refusing to throw a move. We're going to be able to make another Sacred Sword here, and this is not how you want to use your Drapion's, trainer. Please, if you have Drapion, you want to throw the move. If you have it, we're going to fire off a Leaf Blade. Virizion, so bulky, so strong, able to make a Leaf Blade onto the Feraligatr. Feraligatr lets it go as well, and it's going to be an Annihilate in the back, but Annihilate is going to get outpaced here. It is a Shadow Annihilate as well. We can opt to let this first one go or not. I'm actually going to shield it up because I was afraid, even knowing it was just a Rage Fist, I was afraid that even though it's just a Rage Fist, if they do Rage Fist and then for some reason are able to counter me down, I'm going to be in a spot. Nevertheless, that was not what happened. Getting into the next game, it's going to be Rhyperior leading into a Clefable. Oh my goodness, this isn't the best thing for us to see, as they could potentially be on Meteor Mash. What are we going to do here? Are we going to shield it up is the question. We are going to shield it up. It's going to be a Moonblast. Moonblast is now going to be a lot less effective, only doing 1 damage because we put up a shield. And now we're going for the Breaking Swipe bait. Double resisted on the Fairy type. They call our bait. I'm going to throw one more Mud Slap, switch into the Feraligatr now. Feraligatr is going to take a whole heap of damage from this Moonblast, though. I was really hoping I would catch a bait there. They're going to bring in their own Feraligatr, and Feraligatr versus Feraligatr. It's going to be a Hydra Cannon off. Hydra Cannon from my Feraligatr grabs a shield from theirs. Very interesting to see. They are going to retaliate with a Hydra Cannon of their own, but now we've got pretty much exactly what we would want here. We're going to get our we're going to get our Virizion on this Feraligatr, or not, I guess. We're going to come in with the Rhyperior, looking to deny the energy from this Gator. Gator is not going, though. They are not going to send their energy there. They are going to send it on the Virizion, but this is going to be most likely an Ice Beam, and the Ice Beam nearly KOs, but not quite close enough to KOing. We are going to be able to reach a Leaf Blade versus this Clefable. Clefable could have very much been a problem. Now, again, these trainers building up massive amounts of energy and not throwing it. Leaf Blade onto the Clefable is going to pick up the KO. In comes a Stunfisk in the back, and this trainer evidently has been watching his Home Slice Henry videos, as I believe this is a team that was recently featured on his channel. We're going to have to switch into the Rhyperior. Rhyperior, hoping and dreaming we can maybe get some kind of a debuff going on here. We really need something to happen. Breaking Swipe does not get the debuff, and now I think I'm just going to have to no shield and hope that I can live a Mud Bomb, but a Mud Bomb is going to KO. I needed that debuff. The Feraligatr comes in, farms down our Virizion. GG's to this trainer. In the next game, it's going to be Rhyperior leading into a Primeape. Now, Primeape definitely does put us in a little bit of a spot here. They are going to build up to 5 and throw a move. I'm shielding this. It could be a Rage Fist, but it's most likely going to be a CC and dip kind of strategy. But now in comes a Drapion, but Drapion's dramatically behind on energy. We have a whole Hydro Cannon head start over this Drapion. It's a non-Shadow Drapion as well, but that doesn't save them in this matchup, because all this means is that this Crunch is not going to put us into a range where they can Poison Sting us down. They also don't get the debuff, so we're going to build up a whole heap of energy once again, and now go for the Hydro Cannon up against the Drapion. Drapion is most likely going to fire off an Aqua Tail here, because we should comfortably be in Aqua Tail range. They actually send the Crunch, which means we can bring in our Rhyperior and go for the farm down. They're going to fire off a move, and we're going to catch it onto the Virizion. Virizion hopefully is going to get aligned onto the Primeape, maybe the core broken, but they are not. It is going to be something we very much so did not want to see in a Shadow Alolan Muck. This guy has been doing his Rocket Leaders, and he is putting me in a spot because of that fact. We're going to keep firing off Sacred Sword after Sacred Sword. They're really not willing to shield this Pokemon, knowing that there is a Rhyperior in play. They are going to fire off a move here. I'm comfortable with letting this go. What is it going to be? It's going to be the Acid Spray. The Acid Spray picks up the KO, but we are going to get them in one Mud Slap range. They're going to bring in the Primeape, and Primeape, this is certainly a spot to be in if you are the opposing trainer. We have a massive energy lead. They no-shield the Breaking Swipe once again, building up all that energy, but it's all going down the drain as a Breaking Swipe nearly picks up the KO on the Primeape. One more Mud Slap will do it, and the Shadow Alolan Muck does not have a move, so they're going to get Mud Slap down as well. GG's. In the next game, it's going to be Rhyperior leading into a Weezing. Oh my goodness, you couldn't ask for much more lead luck than we've had so far. They're going to save switch into a Feraligatr of the Shadow variety, but we're just going to bring in our Virizion here. Honestly, I always just call the bait here, and Ice Beam will not KO me regardless. I'm actually going to shield it up this time, and it's a Crunch. Oh, that feels so terrible, shielding up a Crunch when we did not have to. Maybe they're Crunch Ice Beam. They're not. They're going to fire off a Hydro Cannon. Nobody's Crunch Ice Beam. What am I thinking? Going to fire off 3 double kicks and a Leaf Blade, knowing that they were dry after that move. And now Leaf Blade will pick up the KO on the Feraligatr. The good thing here is that we have a lot of residual energy. We're going to build up a lot of that energy, and now go for a Leaf Blade onto this Weezing to try to burn the Switch Clock, and we are able to successfully burn the Switch Clock. We're going to switch and pivot into our Shadow Feraligatr. They're going to fire off a move here. It's just going to be a Brutal Swing bait. They did build up to the big move, but they certainly did not send it. I'm going to fire off a Hydro Cannon. Are they willing to shield this Weezing here? No. Knowing that there is a Rhyperior in the field, they really do not want to shield there. They're going to fire off a move with their Greninja that's hit the screen, and now I'm going to call a bait. It's a Night Slash. They actually do relative damage, so this isn't really much of a bait. But I know I'm going to be able to live that Night Slash from there. And now I'm looking to make another Hydro Cannon. We grab the shield with Hydro Cannon number 1. They're rapidly running low on resources, is the opposing trainer. Hydro Cannon, massive damage onto the Greninja there, and now we're going to fire off a Leaf Blade. How much damage will this do? None, because they put up a shield, but this is perfectly fine. I'm going to no-shield this move and trust in the Rhyperior, but we live On 1 HP, we're able to live the Night Slash there. They're going to bring in the Weezing, but Weezing is going to get KO'd by the Leaf Blade. They are not quite able to get the Water Shuriken down. What an agonizing lack of a farm down from the Greninja. We're going to be able to get one Mud Slap, and that's all we need to KO. GG's. Getting into the next game, it's going to be Rhyperior leading into Giratina Altered. This is actually pretty okay by me. I like staying in here. A Dragon Claw does not do a whole lot of damage to Rhyperior, so this is one of the moves that you can see Rhyperior comfortably no shield here. Unfortunately though, with the Shadow Claw damage, they are going to be putting us in a range where 2 just about will KO. I'm going to fire off the Rock Wrecker. They no shield the Rock Wrecker. Massive damage onto the Giratina A, and that is a very bulky Ultra League staple meta Pokemon that nearly gets one shot by our Spicy Rock Man. They're going to bring in a Poliwrath to deal with our Feraligatr here. Going to be able to absorb all of our energy very well. I don't know what season this trainer is coming from. Maybe season 19 with the Poliwrath Giratina A core, but nevertheless, they're going to fire off a Scald. Scald picks up the knockout onto our Feraligatr. And they may think they have us beat because we have a Rhyperior on the team, but we've also got a Virizion on the team, and Virizion is going to shake off all of this Poliwrath energy. No matter what, we are going to be able to outpace them to their next move. They're going to put up a shield that is quite a surprise. And now, I'm pretty sure... Oh no, they bring in the Giratina. Giratina looking for the catch of our Leaf Blade, but we overfarm, so we're able to get to the back-to-back Leaf Blades. And now this trainer is certainly in a spot. What do they want to do? How are they going to continue on with this game knowing we've got the Leaf Blade loaded? They're going to bring in a Steelix that is not in any way, shape, or form in answer to a Virizion up a massive amount of energy. We've got 2 Sacred Swords loaded here. They're going to shield up, and now we are going to be tasked. I think we want to trust in Virizion here, but we're going to no-shield the Psychic Fangs. Oh man, this might come down to our big boy Rhyperior in the back. They're going to fire off an Icy Wind onto us, but now we can pretty comfortably just fire off this Leaf Blade. And this Leaf Blade, even though we're debuffed, should be in range where the Poliwrath will get knocked out by it. Poliwrath goes down to the Leaf Blade, and we have nearly 2 Sacred Swords loaded. The Steelix absolutely in shambles, running very dangerously low on HP. We're going to bring in the Rhyperior, and Steelix getting its HP deleted by these Mud Slaps. Oh my goodness, the Breaking Swipe connects, but that's not going to help these Psychic Fangs, or these Thunder Fangs I should say, do any more damage. We're going to BM with the Rock Wrecker. Why were you staying in this game? The opponent closes their app. GG's. Getting into the next game, it's going to be Shadow Rhyperior leading into a Shadow Weezing. What a lead. Shadow Weezing going to do the Golisopod emergency exit and switch into a Drifblim, but Drifblim not going to have a very comfortable time as it's going to immediately be met with a Shadow Feraligatr, and this is exactly where we want the Drifblim to be. This trainer is going to shield up the Hydro Cannon, and now they can go for an Icy Wind. They're likely just going to go for the double Icy Wind and play the 2 shield out, but this is a losing 2 shield for the Shadow Drifblim in this particular scenario. The reason being is because a Hydro Cannon will perpetually threaten them no matter what the debuff status is, the shielding scenario. We're in a good spot here. We're going to throw 2 Shadow Claws here because the second Astonish will not register the damage nor the energy because they are going to get KO'd. Down goes the Drifblim. We flip switch advantage, and now Weezing is going to be aligned perpetually on our Rhyperior. This is definitely a spot for the opposing Weezing to be in. They're going to fire off a move here. It's going to be a Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing, not enough damage to KO our Rhyperior. Rhyperior is going to even be able to tank another Brutal Swing here. Not very often is your Rhyperior going to be tanking that many moves. It's going to be a Feraligatr in the back looking to snipe our Rhyperior, but we were ready for it, bringing in the Virizion, and before they're even able to make an Ice Beam, we get the Leaf Blade to land onto the Feraligatr here. This is a very nice spot for us to be in. Ice Beam, massive damage. We're looking for that double kick down, and they are going to be able to fire off a Hydro Cannon first, but the good thing about this is that we still have a good amount of health on our Rhyperior, so we're able to live a Shadow Claw, get the Mud Slap farm down, and we get the Rock Wrecker. The Rock Wrecker, massive overkill onto the Weezing. GG's. I can't believe we've already reached the final game of the video. It's going to be Shadow Rhyperior leading into a Licky Licky. This is a very interesting spot for us to be in. Licky can run a variety of moves, including Solar Beam, but it looks like they fired off a move on 5, which is a CMP tie to our Rock Wrecker. Rock Wrecker connects onto the Licky, and here, I really don't think they're going to bait me. I'm going to shield this up. Actually, no, I'm going to no shield. It's a Shadow Ball, but Shadow Ball means that they're not going to be able to. That's not another Shadow Ball. That was 2 rollouts past the initial Shadow Ball. That is a Body Slam. You are a bait merchant getting farmed down. We leave with a Breaking Swipe. In comes a Clefable, and Clefable's going to have a tough time here because if this is a Rock Wrecker that we did build up to, it would do a massive amount of damage. We're going to bank a little bit of energy, and now honestly, now that they've swifted, we could just put this on our Feraligatr. We didn't want a hard pivot because we have a really bad matchup into this in our backline. Speaking of bad matchup, it's going to be Tentacruel into our Virizion, but Virizion, now up a shield, is going to be able to put in some solid work versus the Tentacruel. As you see, Tentacruel wanting to put up a shield here. I know this is only going to be an Acid Spray and they're going to degen their way, Poison Jab me all the way down. This is a pretty tough spot to be in. We're going to try to maintain good timing here, and hopefully that means that we're going to be able to reach another Leaf Blade here. Are we going to be able to make another Leaf Blade? Trainers, make sure you're throwing on good timing because we're able to make another Leaf Blade versus the Tentacruel, and this damage is massively important, meaning that we can now get rid of this Tentacruel with just one further Hydro Cannon here, and now we have the Hydro Cannon. They look to catch it onto the Clefable, but Clefable, no matter what they throw here, are going to be in a spot. It's going to be a Swift. They're looking to just spam out Swifts to try to grab our shields, but the Tentacruel does not have enough energy to deal with our Feraligatr. Hydro Cannon nearly KOing the Clefable there. Clefable places very quickly to Swift, so I threw this Hydro Cannon 1 early, but that's perfectly fine. In comes the Tentacruel. Tentacruel able to make 1 move, but Tentacruel is not going to have 2 moves as they just recently threw a Scald. It's an Acid Spray. That's not going to help them farm down in time. Hydro Cannon onto the Tentacruel. Against all odds, we're able to overcome that game. GG's. If you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. And would I consider Shadow Rhyperior to be a must pick on your Ultra League roster? I'm gonna say no. But I will say it fulfills a very important niche that is currently lacking a bit in the Open Ultra League, and that is a Mud Slapper to deal with the copious amount of Thunderfang Steelix, poison type leads like Drapion, and Galarian Weezing is a very popular one. Sometimes people even throw a Tentacruel on lead. This Pokemon is good into all of those Pokemon, provided you have some shields. You definitely want to save shields for your Rhyperior. If you have Rhyperior and no shields, you're not going to be having a very good time. But I will say, if you are looking for a fun Pokemon for the Ultra League, when this league does come back, because unfortunately it's rotating out today as I'm uploading this video, I will certainly say this is the Pokemon for you. With all that being said, thank you once again so much for watching. I've been Shmeaty. I hope to see you guys again next time, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.